but it's more of just a universal consciousness and a universal whole. And like I think that when we die, we all get to go back to that universal consciousness and that universal whole, which is love. So we have the divine inside of us and we can tap into it at any single moment that we want to. We don't need to have a
Mhm.
conduit. If you prefer to have a conduit, great, right? I'm not trying to
Mhm.
sit here and bash anyone's religion or beliefs or anything like that. I'm just speaking for myself that I didn't find a lot of truth in organized religion, but spirituality is so much deeper than that, right?
Yeah.
There's again, when you can get to a place of realizing that everything that you need is in you already, that all of that divine, all of that energy, all of that brilliance and light and love already exists within you. And then, I started asking, how can I tap into that and how can I bring that out more? If you zoom out, you are one person on this one rock that's circling one sun in a solar system, in a galaxy, in a
Yeah.
universe with many, 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 many galaxies.
Come on.
I don't know. Yeah, the little things that we go through are so trivial in comparison to the vastness and the bigness that is that, yeah, universal consciousness.
Welcome to the Bridge Podcast, a podcast featuring heart-centered leaders, artists, healers, speakers, and creatives who are leading a new paradigm through their own personal embodiment. Join us to explore the evolution of humanity that we see happening on our planet and how the intersection of art and humanity may be the key to having a new experience on Earth, as we individually and collectively choose to align with a greater peace, unity, harmony, and unconditional love in our everyday lives. Together, we will explore inspiring, insightful, and healing conversations that tap us into the artist within, empower us to be the conscious creators of our reality, and amplify the world we want to see by coming home to our own divinity. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Bridge Podcast. I'm really excited for today's episode. This week, I had the incredible Lisa on the podcast. We have been friends for over 5 years now. We met in a really fun and special way when we were part of a program and went to Bali for a retreat together. And our friendship has been really strong since then. And we've had some really fun times, made some really great memories. And she is somebody that I want to have in my life forever, always want to have around. She's such a loving human being. She's so raw. She's so authentic, funny, honest, supportive. She's really such a great friend and has taught me so much about friendship and life and love. And I'm just really, really grateful that I get to share her with you guys and share this conversation that we had. So I hope that it inspires you and I hope that you enjoy it. In this episode, we talk about oneness, consciousness, and awakening to your gifts, choosing yourself and living your truth, embodying authenticity and why it allows us to access our full potential, embodying authenticity and why it allows you to access your full potential, the value of communication and being honest with ourselves in support of intimacy, repression versus expression and having healthy outlets to channel your energy, feminine and masculine energetics and dynamics and how they can support harmony in relationships, the freedom of conscious sex, personal empowerment, and being open to discovering new ways of living in pleasure. We also discuss her journey with addiction, alcohol, and drugs, moving beyond shame and guilt, the superpower of vulnerability, sharing your darkness and having people witness and love you for it, the power of being in the moment, communicating with your guides and spirit team, our experience in Bali and how our friendship started on a transformational retreat, the powerful practice of compassion and normalizing it as the bridge to our differences. Lisa is an intuitive leader, natural empath, and lover of life and learning. She loves to create safe spaces for people to share authentically and without judgment. Also, she gives the best hugs. Short and sweet. That really sums up Lisa, and I really hope that you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed creating it for you. So tune in, grab your favorite drink, your favorite snack, go for a walk, and do something that inspires you or supports you in living your best life and stepping into your truth, and we will come along with you. We hope this can feel like a little sanctuary and bring some light and love to your day. Let's get into it. Welcome, Lisa, to the Bridge podcast. I am so excited to have you here, not only because you are one of my dearest friends and soul sisters, but you are such an epic, awesome, empowering, inspiring person and leader and woman in this world. And I'm so grateful to know you. And I'm so grateful for how our paths crossed. And you are just somebody that I wanted to share with this community, with the world in this way, because I know that you're going to have so many things to say that are so authentic, so empowering, and just so many parts of your story and your experience are going to be inspiring and really valuable to so many people. And just your presence and your heart as well, which is one of the reasons why I love you so much. So, to start us off, I would love to just hand you the mic. Can you introduce yourself to everybody who doesn't know you? Give us a little introduction to your story, to your journey, and what's made you who you are today. I love you.
Oh, I don't even know where to begin with an intro like that. Thank you. I receive all of that. I used to not be able to take compliments or
Mm.
believe compliments. So that was just so beautiful. Thank you, sister. I love you so
Great
much.
place to start. I love you.
100%.
Mm.
So my story, gosh, I've lived quite a life. Where to even begin is the question, I guess.
You
Like
were
where do you,
born.
yeah, like where do you want me to start
Could you
with
give us a little overview of what was your upbringing like? Who were you growing up and coming into adulthood and into your journey over the last, couple decades? What has really changed for you and who are you now?
Yeah, so my childhood was interesting. My father, just as a basic example, like my dad spent 69 on Haight and Ashbury, and my mom's never smoked pot a day in her life. So if you talk about opposites attracting, that's like the epitome of it, right? Come to find out later, my father was bipolar, undiagnosed and untreated for pretty much all of my childhood. So I have always been a very intuitive person. I've always been drawn to witchcraft and manifestation and energy work before I had those words to use them, right?
Mm.
I loved crystals, I loved incense, tarot, and like anything like that. And growing up in a very more traditional conservative household, those were bad and wrong. And I was taught, or I learned at a very early age, that it was not okay to tap into and explore those parts of myself. So as I've gotten older and I've done the work on myself, well, continuing to do the work on ourselves, right?
Of
It's a
course. Yeah.
never-ending journey. But over the last few years, I've really dove into coming back to myself, basically. Like, who am I? What do I want? What am I interested in? What turns me on in
Mm.
all aspects of life, right? So I hired a coach, and obviously like that's how we met, was on this amazing, fantastic, beautiful, epic retreat in Bali that literally changed my life. And really, once I started to prioritize and choose myself, all of these doors started opening and people started coming into my life, and people started getting out of my life, right, that weren't supposed to be there. And I now have this amazing community of women and people who love and support me, and I can call any time of the day or night. And especially if things are good, right? Like if something big happens, like they're celebrating me. I never
Yeah.
had that. I had a lot of competition with women and other people when I was growing up. Some of it was in my head for sure,
Yeah.
self created, but just getting to finally be who I've always been, I think is the most beautiful thing, and
Mm.
coming back to self and authenticity, right? And
Mm.
really just living my truth. And that's also like changing and evolving, right?
Mhm.
Like I just recently started dating again, and I'm now trying to get clear on what do I want? Right? Like what do I want? Like I keep saying that I want partnership, and I'm also engaging with these people who aren't in that place, but I'm also having fun doing it and it's still exciting. So like, do I really want partnership? Like, what do I want? And just having the freedom
Yeah.
to be able to ask that of myself, I think has been really beautiful.
Mm,
I I'm an Aries, so this is my season. I am very excited that it's spring. I can feel the shift.
yeah.
I can feel everything like just changing and
Hmm.
the world is waking up. Like it's spring. There's a new fire that's there and I yeah, my birthday's in what, a week? Yeah, my birthday's in a week.
Yeah.
So I kind of got off topic a little bit there, but
There's no off topic in the universe,
that's true.
right?
Um, yeah, so long story long, I have always been interested in people. One of like a superpower of mine that I didn't realize was a superpower was I'd meet people and they would tell me their deepest darkest secrets within minutes of meeting me. Like it's something I am so intuitive and tapped in and such a light that people are just drawn to that, right? And figuring out how to navigate that and to still be that open channel, but also like I can't be available for that energy 24/7 all the time. So learning how to set boundaries within that has
Yes.
come through a lot in the last, I'd say 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
And also still remaining open
Yeah.
because I still love I love humans and I love people and I love their stories. Yeah, feeling making people feel safe and seen and loved. Like that's definitely a superpower of mine that I've heard from many people. So
Oh, this is everything. I'm so happy that this is where things got to because what a beautiful point to describe who you've become and the I feel this surrender and just knowing you over the past 5, 6 years, but this surrender in I love that you use the word superpower because actually identifying those things within ourselves that are our superpowers gives us so much more freedom to decide how we want to exist in this world and be of service just as the unique person that we are, but also letting ourselves shift and adapt and change how we want to express and relate and connect to others. And I was thinking as you were saying all of that, I just love listening to you talk, honestly, and sharing anything about your life. And it comes from that deep place of authenticity and love, right? And so it reminds me of the universe in the sense that, we come from that source, that love, but our perspectives, how we express things, our experiences can be there's infinite possibilities. And even for us, just as individuals, we go through so many different experiences and timelines where what I see is that we are focusing in on different aspects of ourselves that we want to learn about or expand on or
yeah.
explore. And I love witnessing you, sister, leaning into new aspects and exploring new parts of yourself. And I just feel this like peace and this harmony emanating from your being. And the bridge to me also is it's a reminder to come back to the essence that just us existing and doing what's true for us is what's of service. Just being in love with life and in the moment is of service. Whatever we do doesn't really matter. It's why we do it. It's the place we're coming from. It's how we feel. And so it's so of service just for me to be here witnessing you and receiving this and co-creating this with you and just it helps to come out of that whether it's a podcast or anything we have this sometimes idea of what things should look like and that's sometimes a lot of the time takes us out of the authenticity of the moment and just the being in relationship with life with another human being and what can emerge from that space and to me that's remembering that divinity, that infinite potential, that heart space that connects us all and just being in the moment. And if we just allow and hold space and we create that safe container, which really the universe always is for us, we get to do so much more together. We get to experience and express so much more together and just the co-creation is truly infinite there. So I love that we're meeting in that in this moment as our launch pad for the rest of this experience right now. So thank you for
Totally.
sharing all of that and in reflection to what you shared in your energy, all of that, is coming through and you can say anything you'd like to say in response, but I would also love to bring it into Experience Freedom for a moment. Shout out to Experience Freedom and shout out to Nina Camille if you don't know who she is. Amazing being. Definitely go connect with her. We met at this retreat in Bali, as Lisa said, and I would love to hear, why did you decide to go on this retreat? Like, what was that call inside of you? Why did you do this? And what was probably the biggest takeaway or biggest shift that you experienced in your life from that? And really, how has that impacted you up until now?
Whew. How much time do we have?
We got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little more like backstory of how I got into experience freedom. So I went to rehab at 22 for a meth addiction, and I was sober from 22 to 35. I was living in Mexico at the time when I relapsed and really kind of went off the rails for a little while there, which was interesting because when I was using before at 22, I didn't have the life experience, I didn't have the grounding, I didn't have tools at that point. So I didn't want to feel the way I was feeling, and drugs and alcohol helped with all of that, right? I just could shut it off and didn't have to feel until they stopped working, and like everything still came up because you can only stuff stuff down for so long before it bubbles over. So
Yeah.
when I started using and drinking again, it was definitely like I needed to come home, and I think the universe knew that. So I moved back to California and was living at home with my mom and started dating a chef and kept partying and kept doing everything I was doing because wherever you go, that's where you are. On that journey, I still knew there was still this voice in the only way I can describe it is there was this voice in the back of my head that said, "This is where you are right now, but this is not where you live." Right? Meaning like the partying and all of the behaviors I was participating in. There was this really like soft but like clear, strong voice that just told me like, just do what you're doing, keep doing it. It's okay, right? Don't beat yourself up. You don't need to have shame and guilt around all of this because this is just a phase
Mhm.
basically, and you're going to come out of it. So I knew that I didn't want to keep doing what I was doing, and I had been friends with Nina for a very, very long time, for 20 years at that point. Um, and saw her traveling and doing all these retreats all over the world. And I literally called her up and I was like, "Bitch, I want your life. How are you doing this?" Like in the most loving way possible, right? Like I
Yeah.
say that with nothing but love for her.
Yeah.
And yeah, I started working with her, and it was really I definitely was going through my like awakening at that point, and she definitely helped usher me into this new version of who I am. And that retreat was just so, I mean, that whole program was, it was life changing. Yeah, having like some of my gifts turn on, meaning being able to connect with people on the other side and being able to connect with my spirit guides and angels and all of those things, all of those gifts. Again, I think they've always been there, but now I had at least enough grounding to be able to hear them, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So tapping into that kind of energy and tapping into, yeah, messages, and not just for me, I get messages for other people too, which I think is really cool. And yeah, just that Bali retreat. God, I have so much to say about that. I went on 4 more retreats with Nina after that, or 3 more, and that Bali retreat still, just the power of the people that were there and the energy and the healing. And one of the most beautiful things is being able to talk about your deepest, darkest parts of your soul, have people witness it and say, "Hey, guess what? I still love you and I'm not going anywhere." Right?
Yeah.
Which, like, abandonment issues, hello. But working through those.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's true for most humans, whether you have an abandonment wound or not,
Yeah.
is being able to speak truth into, I don't feel pretty enough. I don't feel skinny enough. I don't feel loved, and I don't feel worthy of love. And having love reflected back to you after saying that, just so much of that angst and feelings dissipated for me, right?
Mm.
And just being able to, I mean, obviously we're here doing this podcast like almost 6 years later. So
Forever, sister,
both
in every
sisters,
lifetime. Yeah.
yeah, and it's also really true that when you meet your people,
Yeah.
when you meet your family, like obviously
Mhm.
done this in many lifetimes and will
Yeah.
continue to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seeing, yeah, for me, I had a lot of guilt and a lot of shame about choices and behaviors. I had a lot of programming that I needed to be a certain way and act a certain way and show up in this way to be worthy or to be loved. And I I've learned that showing up authentically is actually what it is, right?
Yeah.
So whatever that is for me, whoever I am in that moment is okay.
Mhm.
And I I realized this, or I found this out recently, like people think that love is the most powerful vibration on the planet, and it's up there for sure. But the
Mhm.
actual highest vibration on the planet is authenticity. And if you can show up authentically as yourself in every moment, which is the goal, right? I'm still learning how to do that, right? In every
Yeah.
moment, for
Yeah.
the most part, yes, I do, but
Yeah.
when you show up authentically and you get to speak your truth and you get to ask for what you need and people say, "Oh, cool. Yeah, absolutely. I got you." You can set boundaries,
Mhm.
and by speaking into the things that you want and setting boundaries with people, you actually allow people in and allow them to love you even more and even more deeply.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm just marinating in all of this love and authenticity. It's so true. And some of the way I like to say it sometimes for myself is that authenticity is just the frequency of what is,
Yeah.
and that's pure acceptance. It's like it's just what is. I mean, there's no better way to say it, really.
Yeah.
And that just really, really allows us to experience our divinity, our full potential, and lets all parts of us be witnessed and be loved. And, my experience on the retreat, which you reminded me of, is I was very, I don't want to say shy, but like very inward. And in big groups of people and lots of personality, as I was like, I don't really know how to take up space, to be honest. It's more of it's something I do behind closed doors. So it was really
Mhm.
interesting. And I remember when we got there, Nina actually said, I think it may be at our first dinner or something, but let's all notice, if we revert inward or if we express more in a group, and let's try and be the opposite. And I just thought that was so cool that she introduced the whole retreat
Mhm.
with that essence of let's co-create this experience to be expansive and loving for everybody in this particular way. And at the end of the retreat, it's not even that I did share, of course, some things, but it's not that I had shared something and specifically received love back in that moment about it. It was that the whole retreat, I kind of felt like I was in a shadow, in a sense. And then hearing everybody's reflections at the end of the retreat when we did that on Zoom together, or it was at the end of the program, actually,
Mhm.
just receiving how people see you and feel about you, even when you don't feel like you're being your fullest self, was just such a magical moment and something that really it just stays with you, because when people see you and then they can express that, it hits you right in that core, right? And it gives us permission to be our authentic selves even more, and we need each other to do that. We really do. It's so much easier to do it together. Let me just say that. It does take work though, and I love how you shared about learning how to ask for what you need, or ask for support to receive. And you've always been such a angel in my life in supporting me and helping me learn to receive. And you supported me so much when we were in Bali and we got to hang out after the retreat together and do so many magical things, and that wouldn't have happened without you. You were a huge part of my ability to stay and my ability to explore further and expand further, and I'll forever be grateful to you for that, just
I'm
for
not
having
crying,
loved
you're
me.
crying. I've got eye
Because
leaks.
that's what we're here for, right? And it's yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on about that, but just to be loved in that way was very new, because you were not someone that I knew before I went there, and you just became family immediately, and I love that. So on that topic, let's just expand more into relationships, because this retreat is something we both stepped into a new level of relationships and what that looked like in our life, and have evolved so much since then, and what that's looked like in all of our experiences. And so
Sorry.
When it That's good.
Yeah. Yep.
When it comes to relationships of any kind, friendship, intimate, and that can be the same thing, romantic partners, literally anything. What's something that has really changed for you when it comes to relationships, and what does an ideal relationship look like to you now? Authentic, conscious. How have you become the person that's able to have those relationships as well?
Yeah, I think honestly, it was after the retreat in Bali that I moved down to San Diego after the retreat because most of the people that were on retreat lived in San Diego,
Mhm.
so it was a
Yeah.
logical move for me. So I had a built-in community already, which was great. And I really think that the two words that come through for me are exploration and curiosity.
Mm.
Right? Because if you're curious and you're open to explore, that's that's kinda how you find, "Oh, okay, I liked that. I want more of that. Oh, I didn't like that. I don't want that." Right? And each relationship, again, whether it's friendship, romantic, platonic, whatever, teaches you or has taught me, I should say, that like I get clearer on what it is that I want. I get clearer on, oh, I want this attribute in a partner, or oh, I didn't like that. And everybody is different, right?
Mm.
Like for relationships, I think there's the 4 C's, which is communication, consistency, chemistry, and connection. And I really love having like all 4 of those need to be fulfilled for me in any sort of relationship. Like dating, for specifically talking about dating, I'm still learning how to set boundaries and still learning how to speak my truth. And, I think that there's this thing that I get caught up in, especially in the culture we live in the swipe culture that we live in now with dating, that, oh, there's so many options. You can find somebody new. People don't like stay and work through things, right? Like they used to, which there's a lot of like, there's a lot more to that than just
Yeah.
like sticking it out, right? Like our parents did, which that's a whole
Yeah.
separate topic that I'm not
Yeah.
going to go into that road.
Yeah.
However, there's also something of, and I'm working on this, of how do you identify, is this a red or a yellow flag? Is this something that like we can work through together? Or is this like a hard no and a boundary for me, right? And I think for me, being such an open and empathetic person, I'm learning the discernment of those two, right? Because on the one hand, I can say, oh, I didn't like that, cut ties, run on to the next, right? Or is this actually, I can see, because I can see other people's trauma. I understand why they're behaving the way they're behaving and why they're saying the things that they're saying, which is a double edged sword. Again, superpower, but also can lead to, or in the past has led to me staying in relationships much longer than I should have,
Yeah.
because I can see their wounds. And it's not even necessarily, oh, I can fix them. Like in my 20s, that was my thing. Like, oh, let me fix you. You're broken. Absolutely. I brought home every single stray animal that my family has ever owned. So taking in strays is something that I was very good at. Right.
Mm.
So it's not necessarily about, I can fix you. It's more coming from a place of like, you're so amazing. Let my love in.
Yeah.
It's not a, I need to fix you. I want to fix you. It's really like, you're so fucking rad. Like, just let me love you. Just let the love in, you know? But
See your divinity, like, you wanna help people just embrace who they are. Mhm.
right, right.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning. I mean, we all are, but I think a big thing that I've learned is that if I do set a boundary or I do ask for what I need and someone can't show up and meet me there, one, totally okay,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's not their responsibility to manage me and my emotions, first off. But secondly, if they can't meet me there, they can't meet me there. And that's okay too, right?
Yeah.
That if I'm asking for what I need and it's not getting met consistently, that it's okay for me to walk away. And I can still love people. I can love them from a distance and have care for them, but I don't need to be, my energy and my time is precious. And so I don't need to be involved with people that aren't at that same level or that don't want to get to that same level.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's deep. There's a lot of layers to that,
Totally.
really. Yeah, and I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at that because we're all gonna receive that in a different way, and really, like, the message is to continue practicing honoring your truth and honoring yourself and being authentic and being able to express that. And also, it's very valuable to learn about ourselves because then we can also invite people to love us in the ways that we know we need or that work for us, or even just inviting people to support you in a way that you know brings out your best self. And I know that that's really helped me. I'll often, be like, can you ask me a better question? Or can you ask me a yes or no question? Because I just know my energy responds better. And so that self-work and that self-growth is just always so juicy because it leads to better relationships and better life overall. And just a better relationship with yourself too, which is the core of every other relationship you're ever going to have. And every relationship with other people is different too, because they represent, like a different mirror, different aspects. And we're just naturally, we're different around different people, which is, I think is really cool. Something that I've had to navigate and gotten to learn through that, I guess, reflection is I want to be authentic no matter who I'm talking to, and I can, but I also notice that different parts of me come alive or to the surface with different people. And I think that that's just normal. So very interesting. Lots of layers to relationships.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
um,
I just, sorry, I don't want to cut you off,
yeah,
but I want to just
no,
touch on that. Like, we are multifaceted beings as humans. We are
very,
not just one-sided, right? So that
exactly.
makes perfect sense that, yeah, there's going to be different aspects of you that get brought up or drawn out by different people. We're all mirrors for each other, right? So I mean, I have very different friends, and how I show up is similar, but what, like, our connection or our I don't know if it's the energy we're dancing in, that's not the right word I'm looking for, but just, yeah, different facets will come up and come to the surface and get to be expressed or explored or talked about or shared. And I don't think that that's being inauthentic, right? Because
Yeah,
that's still a part of who we are. We're
yeah,
still showing up authentically. And I think that that's also rad that we have that opportunity.
yeah,
You don't have to be just this one thing, this one person. Oh, this is my job, this is my hobby, this is what. No, there's lots of different things that people
yeah.
are into. And, if someone really enjoys hiking and I'm not the hiking friend, don't call me when you want to go hiking. You
Exactly.
know, like, that's totally fine. But if you
Yeah.
want to go to dinner, you want to go to a concert, or there's lots of other things that.
If you want to go eat the most delicious food and travel, then you're my person because that's our
Yes,
thing.
that is our
Yeah.
thing.
No, it's so true. And that permission and that safety to be able to explore whatever parts of ourselves are up that day, I think is what can really make life fulfilling and beautiful on a whole other level. So yeah, just to put that in the space here. On the topic of relationships, when it comes to masculine and feminine energy, because I know that that has been something that both of us have learned a lot about and explored a lot about. I kind of just want to hear from your perspective now. What is your relationship to masculine, feminine energy? What does that mean to you? How has that supported you in life? What you've learned about that and how you kind of dance with that every day in your life now.
Yeah, I remember, gosh, I was in my, like, early adult years and not realizing this is what was happening, but, like, I'd look at a woman and I'd get a certain feeling, and I'd look at a man and I'd get a certain feeling. And what
Mhm.
now I realize, oh, I was picking up on the difference between masculine and feminine energy.
Yes.
There's a different
Love it.
energy that's emanated from a woman than a man, for me at least, right? And so really it wasn't till we went on retreat and I started working with Nina that we had that discussion and we talked about it. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, I get that, right? So for me, I for, like, my romantic partnerships, I lean towards masculine energy, and I really love, like, male companionship, right?
Mhm.
I like the dance between the two, right? So the masculine will hold the container. They are the consistency. They are the structure, right? And the feminine energy is that the wild, free, the beauty
Yeah.
that when there's a container, she, meaning feminine energy,
Yeah.
can knows the boundaries and can dance within that and can be that free feminine
Yeah.
and really step into that, right? So, but I also love women. Like, I think women are amazing and beautiful,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine, like, just being with a man or just being with a woman for the rest of my life personally. But women, they're soft and they're beautiful and they're sensual, and it's such a different experience, right? Being with one or the other. So, slightly off topic, but not still
Not
there.
at all. Not at
Um,
all.
so for me, I'm like, because of the work that I do and the work that I've done for many, many years, I'm in my masculine most days. Like, I'm needing to make decisions, I'm running the show, I'm in charge, I have to do all of these things. So when I get home or if I'm in partnership, I don't want to make the decisions. I don't want to do the thing. Like, one of the sexiest things for me when I first meet somebody and like we're dating is for them to say, be ready at 6 o'clock. I'm picking you up and taking you out. I want you, like, it's comfy casual, right? Just like,
Yeah.
tell me what to wear, tell me what time to be ready. I will show up and be that beautiful feminine. You
Yeah.
take the lead and take the charge and make the plans.
Yeah, that's a very feminine experience, absolutely. Just, wanting to receive and wanting to be guided and be held in that way, whatever the context of the experience, and celebrated. And it's great that you have that clarity though, and it could change, but right now you're so clear that that's something that you want, and these different expressions that we all have inside of us, you know, they have different outlets right now. There's different places that you're channeling that energy, and that's been so helpful for me to know as well. With even just having a podcast, there's a lot of my masculine energy gets channeled into creating
Mhm.
and directing and facilitating and so many things about it, which I deeply love. Like, I love holding space for people. I love being that sacred divine masculine space, because I've also had to learn how to be that for myself, and I've seen the
Ooh,
power of it. And I mean, just there's something about it to me that if I can be a pillar of that divine masculine on this planet as a woman or as a non-binary or whatever the expression, truly, it's about what is authentic for us. It's about what is true for us when it comes to those expressions, and how we can serve different people, different things, different environments with different parts of us. And we need to be able to be multidimensional in that way and outside of the box, because if we're limiting each other, we're limiting our divine nature. It doesn't make any sense. And when you know, um, when you get it, you get it. And it's
totally.
sense of freedom, right? And as far as my feminine energy, I tend to operate more feminine just in my everyday life. I want to have spaces I don't have to pay for. I want to be able to travel and do things where everything's kind of supported, so I can just be in that creation and that radiance and that joy, because I know
Mhm.
also the value of that love and that essence and that reflection. So again, there's so many expressions that it can take. And really, you get to choose what right now feels the most alive for you in life, what inspires you, and to really just choose that, like really just own it for yourself. And it really does help to have a more clear relationship with your own inner masculine and feminine, and creating that kind of union dynamic and that flow, because the way you're going to be able to show up in relationships, right, is just so different. And it's a blessing for others as well. Like, it really allows them to be themselves, to be exploring these parts of themselves, and it goes on and on and on. It's
Absolutely. One thing
beautiful.
that I wanna touch on, and not that, well, there might be people that are stumbling upon you and your podcast that are not necessarily familiar with feminine and masculine energy, so I just wanted to touch super briefly
Yeah.
on when you were talking about masculine and feminine, we're not talking about, like, man and woman,
Yeah.
right? We're not talking about just the 2 societal gender blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, bullshit, 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 right? There's many forms of that, and every single person on this planet, whether, gay, straight, trans, bi, whatever, we both have masculine and feminine energies within us. We tend to lean towards one more than the other, usually, but having a balance between the two, I think, is so necessary. And I think that a lot of people who skew masculine have been taught that, oh, having feminine energy or being feminine is bad and it's wrong. And that's not true at all. Actually, every single person needs to have a
Mm.
balance between the two. And when the two are again, most people skew more one way than the other, but you need to know what that looks like, what that feels like. And then when you can really tap into both of those sides of yourself, you can integrate and ground and get to that authenticity piece, right? That we've been talking about, at least
Yeah.
in my experience.
Totally. Thank you for sharing that. And it's so beautifully put. How do we know really what's authentic for us if we're not even aware of all the different energies and experiences we can have? And
Mhm.
sometimes I learned this initially through numerology, and it kind of expanded from there for me, is that zero is that field of infinite possibility and creation,
Mm.
and that one is it's the masculine, in the sense that it's the seed planted, it's the clarity, it's the direction, it is the space in which something gets experienced, because then the two is the feminine, it comes right after. It's like the experience of that starts flourishing, and it's like if the universe is the masculine and earth is the feminine, which she is, um and the moon is feminine, but the sun is masculine. Like, you can kind of tap into these energetics and then note how you feel that within yourself. And so well said, just in that the masculine being that space and the feminine being like our emotions and our experience. So when you practice meditation, for example, and you're practicing being the observer, that's you tapping into that divine masculine that can hold space for all the emotions to move through you. And every single human being will benefit from that, whatever way you access it and, explore it for yourself. But it really leads us into a different level of harmony, a different level of responsibility, a different level of just experiencing life. So I highly recommend that exploration. And if it doesn't resonate with you, or you don't use that wording, or you let it go at some point on your journey, it does not, you do you. You do you. You're free to do whatever aligns with you. And that's something that I find it's so important to just remind ourselves of that, so we don't think we have to take on something that doesn't feel resonant for us. You could just live your life and be doing that and never really think about what you're doing, but you feel super authentic and super good. And everybody has their own gifts and journey, and not everyone's coming to this kind of reflection. So take what resonates always, and just you do you. But let others do
Absolutely.
them too, right? Like, let
Well,
everybody.
yeah, I think that one of the biggest things that, again, still working through and navigating, is that it was an epiphany and literally like a mind blown moment when I
Mhm.
realized that not everyone has incarnated on this planet to grow and evolve and learn. And like, and that's okay, right? Like there's some people that this lifetime and this time around, they're here to learn the us versus them narrative, right? We can see that going on. I mean, I'm in the United States, so we can see that clearly going on here right now, right? So there's
Mhm.
many people that's their path this lifetime, right? And
Mhm.
for those of us who have chosen to come here and grow and evolve, and I truly believe part of my mission here this time around is to help up level the energy and the vibration of this planet, right? And I
Mhm.
know, like, we've talked about it before, maybe not in so many terms, but I know you're here for that too. Like, we
Yeah.
chose to be here to help the people that want to up level, right? And that's being of service. And like, again, going back to the authenticity piece, that when you are authentic, that's exactly what you are raising the vibration of the planet, whether you
Yeah.
realize it or not. It's not something that you have to consciously put effort into, although sometimes, yes, you will. But if you're
Yeah.
showing up authentically, you're already doing that.
Yeah, and that's a big breakthrough, definitely. I think my way was realizing not everybody's here necessarily to have this like deep spiritual awakening, and I stopped unconsciously projecting my journey onto everyone else on the planet. I'm like, that doesn't
Mm.
even make sense, but this is the first time that I've really realized that. I'm like, some people are going to musical theater school, something that I want to do, and all these fun things, and like that's just been their journey. It's not looked the same as mine. So how can I honor my own journey and listen to myself and not be trying to control the world because I didn't feel like I could do what I wanted to do? Let's like go deeper into myself. And this just goes for anything though. If you're focusing so much on the outside, or you want to change something, control something, or you're judging something, like there's probably a lot more for you in that than what you're perceiving or trying to change on the outside, And if there's something there, you'll know by bringing it back to you. Judgment is an awakener. Judgment and, fear tries to control. And
Mhm.
if we can just hold up that mirror and go back within us, there's always going to be something to learn and expand into and explore. And that actually allows you to be of greater service because you're going to be more authentic, like you said. So beautifully said. Can we touch on just your experience of sex? Your Pause.
One of
Like
my
when
favorite topics, absolutely, let's
Perfect. I just that's why I wanna ask you because I know that you're lit up about it and even just segueing from masculine, feminine, and just our expression in that way with our own bodies, and what has that journey kinda been like for you with your sexuality, your sensuality, and yeah, whatever you wanna share about that. Just let's talk about sex for a second.
Yeah. Um, I've always been a very sexual person, and I think where a lot of my like hangups and stigma came from, like I grew up going to church, and so I was very much religious, and there's all of this guilt and all of this shame that I felt, which tapped into my lack of feeling like I was not worthy, right?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't measure up to this unbelievable ideal that some person wrote in a book however many thousands of years ago, right? Imposed upon myself. And
Mhm.
so once I started to kind of step away from organized religion, again, taking the pieces of it that resonated for me, I think that there's two, not to get off topic, but there's two major things that I've learned from every single world religion. It's prayer works and treat others how you want to be treated, right? And there's
Mhm.
many other things that have similarities, but those two are like basically the foundation and cornerstone of everything. So getting off of that topic, coming back to sex, um, I was taught, yeah, to have guilt and shame around sex. I was
Yeah.
taught that it wasn't okay to be a sexual person. I was taught that, oh, well, don't dress this way, don't be too slutty, don't be too suggestive, don't be this, don't be that. And so when I finally got to strip away some of that programming that I had, and I realized I love sex. I like having sex with men. I like having sex with women. Sometimes I like having sex with both at the same time, right? So
How
that's
sweet.
not I mean, preferably, honestly, right? Because I get the best of both worlds. However, comma, having, yeah, I think that being, and especially as a woman, right, in this physical 3D realm this
Mm.
time around, like we are built for pleasure. Women
Mhm.
are built for pleasure. There's a reason we can have
Mhm.
multiple orgasms. There's a reason we can tap into that. There's so many erogenous zones on our physical body that we can get turned on by. Like, I fucking love it. I think it's amazing. Like, I actually feel sorry for men because they don't get to experience what we get to experience when you are like grounded in yourself and you actually know, no, like this is the shit that I'm into. Let's do it. Right. And you find other people that are just as like weird and kinky and freaky as you are, then I've gotten to have so many beautiful experiences and things happen in the moment where I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know that I was going to be into that. Oh, I like that. Let's do that again. Right. Um, but I think that I had to find myself a little bit first, and I had
Mhm.
to deprogram a lot of things for myself to be able to get into that space
Yeah.
of just being open again, curiosity and exploration, right? Like getting curious about who am I? What do I want? What do I like?
Yeah.
And it's okay, and it's okay to ask for it because guess what? There's 8 billion people on this planet. Chances, like I can
Yeah.
guarantee you there's going to be at least one, probably many, many people that are going to be into what you're into. And
Yeah.
so if you're not at a place where you're grounded and resourced to be able to speak your truths, like set boundaries and ask for what you want, you're never going to get it. Like there's so many people that are in relationships, and I've done this myself too, that they stay in relationships for, I mean, a multitude of different reasons, but they're so afraid to say, hey, I don't know, I think I want to be tied up. Would you be into that? Would you like be interested in exploring that with me? And
Mhm.
so people go their whole lives so repressed when they don't have to. Like maybe if you're like fantasizing about being with a woman or you're fantasizing about another man or whatever it is, your partner might be into it too, but you don't know until you actually ask and have the conversation.
Mhm.
So for women, right, there's so much stigma around don't be too the Madonna whore complex, right? Like don't be too slutty, don't be too suggestive, don't be too needy, don't be too pushy, like all of the yeah patriarchal crap that
Mhm.
I grew up with and many women grew up with as well. Again, once I started to shed that, like a whole world of possibilities and scenarios and sexual configurations, quite frankly, have like opened up for me. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like, ask for what you want. There's going to be somebody on this planet that's going to be into it too. I don't know
Just
what else
one
to
liner, ask for what you want.
say. Ask for what you want.
Yeah, you touched on being comfortable with yourself, like getting to know yourself is incredibly important when it comes to anything vulnerable or intimate in any way with anybody, which could literally be from sharing your feelings to like full on sexual experience.
Yeah,
It's different for everybody. Like, literally, again, as always, take what resonates with you, apply things as it feels true for you. Like, sex is aliveness, like, it is the connection to who we are and where we come from. Like, it's the connection to creation. When you were talking about all the ways that we can light up and feel pleasure, it's like, yeah, that makes life delicious and juicy every day. And you know what? For some people, like, I know there's seasons of my life where it's like, I want to feel all the pleasure in so many ways, but I don't actually want to share that with another human being right now. Or I don't want,
totally.
because as far as what I share with another human being, that's something that I'm very clear about, the kind of experiences I want or the kind of person that I want and how they make me feel and how much that allows me to be in my feminine and explore different things, right? It's something that getting to know yourself is like, it's never going to fail you. It's always going to help you. Yeah, just looking to inspiration and being curious, like you said, and exploring, and you're here to be alive and to explore those things. So if you have curiosities, having that compassion for yourself, like if you've experienced a lot of shame or judgment, like you said, that healing is maybe the first step. How do I come to acceptance or curiosity and more love around just what I'm feeling and what I'm curious about? And it's actually the perfect segue into the next thing I want to ask you about, which is just in general when it comes to healing and the work that we do and healing from trauma and different programs and things that have been, put on to us or that we've experienced. What is one of the or a few of the ways that you have been able to overcome, heal, transmute, dissolve, alchemize, whatever wording you like to use, really move through those things that used to limit you? And even still, when things come up, when triggers come up for you, those shadows, like, how do you navigate that? What are some of your tools? What would you share from that experience, as far as the world we're living in right now, and that's pretty important for all of us to be aware of on some level?
100%. I mean, meditation's a big one. I haven't like dove into breath work very much yet, but like just slow, like if I'm in just a full trauma response and I'm triggered, taking a moment, sometimes I'll put my hand, like one hand on my heart, one hand on my belly, and just do like a 4 count in, 7
Mm-hmm.
count hold, 8 count out, right? And just take a second to, yeah, to ground myself.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something where I'm in a sad or a depressed like season and it's not just a specific like moment that I'm triggered in, getting outside. Go outside.
Yeah.
It's whether it's cold or not, get some
Yeah.
sunshine on your body, get my feet on the ground,
Yeah.
right? Mother Earth will help you transmute so much energy if you allow her to. And even if you don't allow her to, she's still going to do it anyway, right? So putting your feet on the ground, getting sun on your skin, meditation, my friends, honestly, like,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
have really, really deep friendships and I'm very, very blessed and have cultivated a support system of mostly women that I can call and say, "Hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going through." And they'll either listen or they can give me advice or they can help me like navigate through it. Talking about it is a big thing for me. Like I need to express and talk about it,
Yeah.
and I usually need some feedback and someone else who isn't spinning
Mhm.
probably
Yeah.
is spinning at the same time, right? To give
Yeah.
me to just help me ground, and my friends, all my friends are witches at this point, which I think is amazing. And just we're just us as women are so intuitive just naturally. I mean, everybody is. But I think there's something really special about feminine intuition and having people in your life that know who you are, know your past, and can give you a beautiful, heartfelt, and honest reflection of what they're hearing from you at that moment, right? So I have those people in my life that can put me not put me in my place, but almost, right? Like give me again honest feedback of, hey, okay, that's crazy. You're spinning. You know, that's not true. You know, sometimes that's all that you need to hear from another
Totally.
person, right? And I think one of the things too with having done so much work now
Yeah.
is that I've done so much work now that I already know when I'm spinning. I already know
Yeah.
when I'm triggered. I already know when I'm crazy. And
Yeah.
I already know these things, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes I can navigate out of them on my own, and that
Yeah.
is part of the healing that I've done, right? And other times I need more help than that. So
Yeah.
I call on my angels and my guides and my team often, especially when I
Mhm.
get into those places of just, you know, help. And sometimes it's just help me.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all I like,
Totally.
help me, because that's
Yeah.
all I can say, you know. So
Sometimes that's all it takes, right? Whether you have humans you can say that to or, you're speaking
totally.
to your
Even more
guides.
so if you have humans, you can say that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we don't have to overcomplicate it. Like we truly are so supported. And if we've just been programmed to feel like we're not supported in a certain area or way, then it can feel like it's hard to let that in or to reach for that or to even have the kind of capacity in our minds to consider how we could be supported in that thing. Because whenever we go into a shadow or a trigger or a trauma, your capacity has already shrunk. Like you're not thinking clearly, you're not seeing the full
No.
picture. So that's where support and people is so important. And sometimes you don't, like when I'm in my stuff sometimes, or just in stuff, I don't even need to say it's mine, but
Mhm.
it's sometimes I just feel like I need to stay in it or I want to stay in it for a while. I'm not looking for running to somebody to say, hey, help me get out of this. Sometimes there's something really beautiful in just being in it. I remember when I was at your house and you had this whole thing going on with like renos and like this situation and I was just there and I was just like I love you, I'm here because you didn't need or want to come out of that. You needed to just be in that experience and like letting that energy move through you, and that is such a different way to love people when we don't try and fix them and we can just be there in different ways and listen for what is love in this moment, asking of me or ask the people what they need, or really just come to people and say, hey, I'm like really in this experience and I don't need help, I don't need answers, I don't even need a reflection, I just like really want to say this to somebody, I just want you to be with me right now, and being able to communicate that is really beautiful. It's nice when you don't have to as well, but both are important. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, and every single relationship comes back to communication.
Yes.
And I think that in my experience, there's a lot of people who they're not good communicators, which also like blows my mind because I feel like I do a really good job to the point where I over communicate most of the time.
Girl, same.
And that's just my, my neurospicy brain. I think
Yes.
it a little bit,
Yeah.
but I want to make sure that I'm like clear. Like if I'm giving someone directions, be like, okay, take a left here, and then you're gonna see like this tree, and then this thing, and this da 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 da. Like just making sure, like make a left, and then turn into the parking lot, and then park off to the right because if you're on the left, like just
Yeah. Yeah.
being overly communicative. And so
Mhm.
when people aren't like that, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I
I
hear
get
that.
it, like, I do understand now, but, like, there's still
Yes.
a big part of me that's like, "This is so e," and maybe and I don't know, I just had this come through of like, well, maybe it's easy for me, but maybe it's not easy for them.
Exactly.
Maybe it's not. Like,
And that's where compassion is such a bridge to being able to connect with people in different moments and extremes. And because we really are all having such a unique experience in all moments, even if we think we're on the same page with someone, like there's still differences in how it's written. It's like, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful to be able to be in tune with how easy it can be to connect in the depths and just the humanity of that. Like that's just reminds me of being in our heart. We just care so much, and yeah, it's something that we can learn a lot from, I think. So
mhm,
that's really, really beautiful. And you did touch on this a little bit at the beginning of this share, I'd love to know just in your own, maybe not necessarily what is spirituality to you, but just anything you feel guided to share around your relationship with spirituality or alignment, or how you built that, what really worked for you. And I know you mentioned, nature and different things that are supportive for you, but was there something that really shifted for you when it came to your relationship with the universe, or moving away from kind of religious things into more of a, what I define with spirituality is that individual relationship with consciousness and with the universe and self? I would just love to open that for a moment too.
Yeah, totally. I having grown up in the church, and I'm definitely not like a Bible-y scholar by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know enough about the Bible and have heard a lot of verses and different things that there was so many like contradictions and so much that just did not resonate for me,
Mm-hmm.
um, that I had to step away,
Mm-hmm.
right? And find my own path. Like, do I believe in God? Yes, I do. I don't believe in the like white bearded pitchfork, whatever, damning God of the Bible. But I think for me, God's defined as just a universal energy that's guiding all of us, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think one of the things for me that religion does a disservice in separating ourselves from God, right? We need a bridge to get us to God, right? And I think that's complete bullshit. I think that God is in every single one of us. We are all one. We're part of creation. We're part of the divine. We are divine beings and we all come from the same source.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that there's one religion that is right and correct, just how can you say that?
Yeah.
There's tribes in other parts of the world that have very little to no contact with the outside world, and they have their own religion and their own beliefs and their own gods and their own and you're telling me that they're wrong? Like I can't wrap my head around that, right? So I think that there is it's correct in the sense that there is one God, and I'll put quotes around that, but it's more of just a universal consciousness and a universal whole. And like I think that when we die, we all get to go back to that universal consciousness and that universal whole, which is love.
Yeah.
Right? So we have the divine inside of us and we can tap into it at any single moment that we want to. We don't need to have a conduit. If you prefer to have a conduit, great, right? I'm not trying to sit here and bash anyone's religion or beliefs or anything like that. I'm just speaking for myself that I didn't find a lot of truth in organized religion. But spirituality is so much deeper than that, right?
Yeah.
There's again, when you can get to a place of realizing that everything that you need is in you already, that all of that divine, all of that energy, all of that brilliance and light and love already exists within you. And then, I started asking, how can I tap into that and how can I bring that out more in
Yeah.
my day-to-day life, right? If you think about it, I love like the memes or the analogies of like if you zoom out, right? And
Mm-hmm.
look at you are one person on this one rock that's circling one sun in a solar system, in a galaxy, in a
Yeah.
universe with many, 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 many galaxies.
Come on.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just the little things that we go through are so trivial in comparison to the vastness and the bigness that is that universal consciousness or God or
Mm.
spirituality or energy or whatever, sky chief, whatever you want to call it.
Sky Daddy.
Sky daddy.
I had a conversation with my friend the other day, and we were making so many jokes about that and bringing sex into just the transformation of right now, and it was just full of so many laughs, and it was good.
I love sky daddy. I'm gonna use
Yeah,
that.
right? It's good. I'm not even gonna add anything because you just really brought us there. And it was one of those, it's just one of those mic drop moments when you put it into perspective like that and you zoom all the way out to what's really going on. It's so far beyond what a programmed mind can interpret even. I mean, I like to say that the mind is a translator of frequency. So the more open you become to that expansiveness, that infinite now, that oneness, the more you're going to actually see, but your mind's not trying to control anything. It's just observing, right? It's that great observer. And just what that can do for your life is chef's kiss in all the ways, right? So, to bring this down to earth again a little bit more in this moment, because we can go all the way out there, and I'm always down for that. Always
Mhm.
up for that, I guess I would say. Um, what a beautiful conversation. And I would love to, I always ask every single guest, do you believe that your embodiment can change the world? And if so, what is a message that you would want to broadcast out in this moment to the planet, to the universe, from your experience and embodiment of that as the brilliant Lisa? Please tell us.
Absolutely. I think that a lot sometimes we as humans can get caught up in, oh, like if I wasn't here, it wouldn't matter. Like in the grand scheme of things, right? Like our
Mhm.
microcosm
Yeah.
of like our circle absolutely would be impacted. But
Mm.
if you're not here, that changes things, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the message that I would have, because this keeps coming through for me like recently, is that we
Mm.
are all connected and we are so much more alike and similar than we are different. And when we can get some of those like programs out of the way just enough to let that to spark that conversation with another human being or just start that connection with someone else and be open to hearing other people's like perspective when we get again all of the bullshit out of the way, we're so much more similar and alike than we are different. Yeah.
I fully went into tears when you said that because just one of my favorite values and truths to remember, and it's such a why to live by. Thank you for that.
Hmm.
In closing, I would love to just thank you so much, Lisa, for coming on and choosing to share your heart, share your experiences, be so open and vulnerable and authentic. You are truly exactly what the bridge is about. And I'm just so honored that you came to share yourself with me and with the universe in this way today.
Are
And for
you kidding? I'm just like, thank you so much for asking me. Like, Jesus.
Aw.
Well, I'm so honored to be a part of
Oh.
all of this, and
Mm,
also, like, just getting to hang out and spend some time with you and connect and check
yeah.
in, like, that's I love
Yeah.
that part of it too, like, all of it, so
Yeah.
thank
What a
you.
fun way to do it. You're so welcome. I mean, I'm honored. I feel like I feel inspired. I feel, that clear yes to ask somebody to come on and you're meant to be a part of it. That's just
Mhm.
period. Of course, human Chelsea is
Period.
like, I love you so much, duh, Lisa. But there's another, like you said, everything would be different without you. And everything that came through you today and that message just being at the end of this is such a beautiful example of that and just testament to that you were meant to be a part of this. And there's so much value and just love in you existing on this planet. And I am so grateful for you. I could cry. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. And before I close this and love on you in private, can you tell everybody can you tell everybody how to connect with you, if you want to share anything about yourself or how people can tune in, what you're kind of up to in life right now, and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, I definitely love connection, I would say I don't wanna get flooded with just everyone and
Respect.
everything coming through. However, that's my boundaries to set energetically.
Yeah.
So my Instagram handle is I am the manifestation goddess. So please feel free to follow, like, share. I'm definitely not on the TikTok as often as some of the kids are. So I don't know my handle off the top of the head, but it's something similar to the manifestation goddess or manifestation god something along those lines. So
We'll
I am
find it and I'll tag it for
you
you.
can find it and tag it, or I can get it to you later. But yeah, Instagram's the best way to keep in contact with me. I would love that.
Beautiful. Yes. And if anyone has, questions or reflections to pour love into you or to learn on their journey, are you open and available for, messages or connection in that
Yeah.
way? Let us know.
Absolutely, please. Yeah, if
Beautiful.
people have things they're going through, I used to be in the coaching space. I'm not really in that space or available for that anymore, and I genuinely love humans and love helping people grow. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also pretty good at this point with boundaries and communication, so if I don't have the time or I'm not available for it, I'll let
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, perfect. We love that. We respect that. Sometimes all we need is, that connection point, that sometimes a safe space or even just a message of love and encouragement. And you can, find that in so many places. And I think majority of the people on the planet are happy to share that and extend that, in some way. And yeah, it's all about love. We're here for that love and that authenticity. So
Yep.
thank you, Lisa. This
Thank
was
you. My gosh.
such a beautiful conversation and experience. I'm so excited to share this and just to continue lifing with you, honestly.
You're stuck with me.
I mean, I'm pretty lucky to be stuck with you. Yeah. I
We're
love you
stuck with
so
each
much.
other, and I'm so here for all of it.
I love you so much.
I
Thank you.
love you. Absolutely.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Bridge. You are so valued and appreciated here, and I hope it helped bring light, love, clarity, and healing to your journey of remembering who you are. If you'd like to share feedback, have questions, want to collaborate, or request for a specific guest or episode topic, you can email us at the email below. To connect with us on socials or to work with me one-on-one, you can head to the social medias in the description below. If you'd like to donate to support our mission to share love, peace, and unity on this planet, you will find a link for that as well. You can always reach out via email to ask us how you can support what we are currently doing in the world. Remember, together we are better and truly can do so much. Now it's that time. Go live this new wisdom you received here in your life. Share it, integrate it, pass it on. Your ripples are powerful and needed, and you have a unique way of sharing and being that only you can be. As always, take what resonates for you and leave the rest. You are sovereign. You are the magic wand. You are the bridge to experiencing the world that you want. You are the conductor of your destiny. See it, choose it, speak it, feel it, believe it, know it, and go be it. Remember, it always starts with you. The universe is always on your side, and you are infinite. One love, and we'll see you in the next one. 2025 being so busy astrologically, but it's pushing us up. All the
Yeah.
chaos is actually order that's already here, and it's trying to get us to come into realization of that. That's how I see it.
It's like bringing all these things to the surface so that way they can
Yes.
be removed and
Yes.
get into a more aligned path. But like all that stuff needs to get flushed out first, right? Like you got to get rid of the junk to get to the gold, basically.